What is going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS Game Day Playbook live show. We're looking at the 8-game main slate here for Wednesday. We had some day baseball going on as we are speaking, so hopefully you all enjoyed that. But as we turn our attention here to this 8-game slate, we broke it down this morning, gave you our preview show, some lineups about some guys we liked not playing, some guys we also liked are, so should be an interesting breakdown for today's slate, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting 8-game slate. Ready to get into it.
We got pitching, obviously, notably up at the top. Flaherty, Gilbert, Nola, your top three price guys, up over $9,000. Jack Flaherty at 10.5 here against the Seattle Mariners. We saw, obviously, the type of strikeout potential the Seattle Mariners bring, especially to right-handed pitching. No, Jack Flaherty has a ton of strikeout upside. Nola in this matchup against Atlanta, not having to deal with Austin Riley, could change sort of some of his fortunes that he's had against that team. When you're looking at these top three price starting pitchers, James, how would you rank them here today?
How I would rank them is probably how they are priced. That's Gilbert. Flaherty is far and away better than the other two, in my opinion. I think Flaherty he's the top arm on the slate, and you go into your builds with looking for an SP2 because Jack Flaherty is your SP1.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. If you go look, looking at some of the rostership here for this main slate, no surprise to anybody, Flaherty is your top price guy, and Nola's right there behind him. So on an 8-game slate, you're getting the double spend up at pitching here today. Nestor Cortez is up there as well. Home matchup against Cleveland. You and I were a little, Cleveland, generally a good team against left-handed pitching. How in are you buying in the Nestor Cortez home splits today against Cleveland?
0%.
I mean, obviously a tough matchup for him. Last 10 games, hasn't pitched well, but did have that great start against the White Sox. So no interest at all for me either here. Where are you looking in the mid-tier?
Very small player pool. Ryan Pepio, big ballpark in Oakland. He's been good, misses bats. So anyone that misses bats at 8,300 in a good ballpark, that's interesting to me. Tobias Myers in tournaments. The Cardinals are fine against right-handed pitching, a little above league average, but Tobias Myers has been one of the best pitchers in baseball over the last couple months. So those would be the two guys for me in the mid-tier.
Yeah, looking at ownership as well, Pepio getting a little bit of love there, around 18%. Not too much after that, though. I mean, we discussed maybe Michael Lorenzen just because he has that Angels matchup, but he has largely struggled here. We saw Joey Estes dominate Tampa Bay last night. Do you have any faith in Mitch Spence repeating? He, too, a guy with some pretty good home splits this season.
Yeah, I mean, he's 6,500 in a really good pitching environment. He, like Michael Lorenzen, doesn't often pitch deep into games. But what I can say is I'm more likely to use a guy that's getting 13, 12, 11 ground ball outs in a game than I am someone who's everything's in the air, because sooner or later those fly ball pitchers get caught up to in the big league. So, I mean, yeah, only thing you have to worry about with Spence is the strikeouts and the lack thereof, rather. But also this is a high strikeout spot with Tampa Bay's lineup, and obviously not a terrible spot to get a win. So I'm good with Mitch Spence overall.
Yeah, again, just as a value play, 8-game slate, not a lot else out there that we'd be looking to put in our lineups here today, right?
No, I mean, I've mentioned the Kenta Maeda thing to you on the pre-show. I'm still okay with it, mainly because of the price. And this is like only if you're in a situation where you want to spend up on bats, because the wind's blowing out at Yankee Stadium with two lefties. So, and the wind's blowing out to right field, as if that short porch needed any more, any help to get there. There is now wind there. So, like, obviously Judge and Soto and Jose Ramirez exist in that game. And then you have Johnny Cueto going into Kauffman Stadium. And I don't know if you saw the article today that says Bobby Witt could be the first player since 2004 to bat above 400 at his own ballpark.
Okay.
2004 is Barry Bonds. Is the last time it's happened. He is hitting 405 in Kauffman Stadium. So, if you're prioritizing 2 or potentially 3, I would say that there's a small part of me that would be like, yeah, I'm okay with Tyone, but like there is not Tyone, Kenta Maeda. The winds are blowing in Wrigley, right?
They
Like
are.
that was
Listen, if Maeda is starting tonight, and I know didn't really matter last time out, but I just want a chance, get the win, give him a good opportunity there. Now he can come in relief and take the lead, and then he can get a win that way as well. But I don't know. I feel like I feel more confident in Maeda if he's actually starting. Innings wise, he could be extended a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe it's an old way to think about the
he's
position.
not. He's not
starting. Okay, so there you go.
Brisky is your opener. So I mean, look, the win part. If this is a FanDuel thing, I'd have more concern because you don't get the quality start if Maeda comes in the game. But the win, he just needs to be on record the pitcher after the 5th inning that is in the lead, right? So in terms of FanDuel, yeah, it's harder to get to Maeda. But on terms of DraftKings, as long the quality start thing does not matter here. And as long as he is in the game after the 5th, and if Detroit has the lead, then he qualifies for the win. So
sure.
I have more worry about Maeda on FanDuel than I would on DraftKings.
Okay. I appreciate you guys tuning in here. Our guy Geevers in there saying he likes my takes as well. I appreciate that. Grande's got better takes. We all know it. DePrince got crushed yesterday. Sorry to hear that, DePrince. It was kind of an up and down slate. I'll give you that. And then Don in here saying what's up. Hopefully you had some success on your slate there. Catcher position here. We went to some value last night. Where are you looking to go today?
I mean, Salvi is obviously, if you want to pay up, as good as it's going to get. Cueto did have more issues with lefties in the minor leagues, but I'm not going to shy away from Salvador Perez if I'm playing a Kansas City stack. So I'm good with him, 51. Like Real Muto against lefties, he's slowly coming around, hits in 7 straight games, a bunch of RBIs in that span too. So 4,300 Real Muto. I am not shy about playing Austin Wells when it comes to a lefty. And I do think that there's something to be said. Yankee Stadium, short porch, wind. Wind. And now you get a lefty. Any lefty is in play tonight for that short porch. Like Wells at 42. David Fry hitting 4th. You had specifically shouted out how he has been struggling. Mm-hmm. He does specifically hit lefties extremely well. That is the one thing that David Fry does exceptionally well. Nestor Cortez, 19 of the 21 home runs he's allowed have come against right-handed hitters. So David Fry makes a lot of sense to me. And then, I personally, if Tice is in the lineup, I'm going to punt with him at 24.
Sure. Top rostered catcher is Kirk right now over based off of current projections here. Where is his price? I'm just blanking on his name here.
I actually don't.
Is he not playing?
I don't think so.
Okay.
He is not playing.
Servin in there. All right. So we need to get some updated rostership over from our guys there. So no Kirk today. We'll see if that adjusts some where the people are going with catcher. First base, you have Ohtani and Freeman. Both of them draw Gilbert here. Vladdy against Martinez, looking pretty nice as well. You mentioned Salvi already at 51. Pasquantino right there at 48. Any updates here at first base for you?
I mean, Vladdy's solid. Nick Martinez has obviously been worse as a starter, but he looked really good his last time out. Okay, playing Bryce. He's another guy that I don't have problems with, lefty-lefty. Olsen for home run appeal, I think, is interesting, especially if Nola's going to be popular. The Braves can always be an alt stack in tournaments, just given what they can do in terms of power. Yariel Rodriguez has struggled with righties. I'm okay with Spencer Steer, who's been pretty good of late. That would probably be the only other addition that we didn't talk about. The pass squatch, though, really does make sense, 4,800. I mean, had been struggling, I guess in terms of power, but he just is driving in so many runs. And I keep saying it. Everyone is on base in front of Vinny Pasquantino. Massey's hitting over 300 his last 10. Bobby Witt's hitting 1,000 his last 10. Like, he just has so many run producing opportunities. Pasquantino has three RBI games in his last 5. He has at least one in 5 of his last 6. Like, there's a lot of run production there. So 4,800 for Pasquantino feels really secure. Like, whatever format you want, cash, tournaments, like whatever. He's probably per dollar my favorite first baseman over 4K.
Yeah, no arguments with me here. Again, I'm very much like everybody else is probably going to be looking to get in against Johnny Cueto here in that 90-mile-an-hour fastball that he's out there throwing to people. Don't mind the Detroit guys either on this opposite side of Tyon. You get Torkelson at 41. Spencer Horwitz is hitting cleanup tonight. Our guy Will Wagner not in the lineup, but we'll talk about that when we get to second base here. He's $3,900. Ty France at $2,900 against Yairo Rodriguez. Hitting 290, 830 OPS. He's hit pretty well since going to the Reds. I don't mind that spot either.
Yeah, the Reds are a little bit interesting because Yariel is very wild. Does miss bats, but like 4.5 walks per 9 innings is not like. What if he does that to Ellie? What if he walks Ellie tonight? He's on third. I mean, it's now France is, coming up. So I like Ty France as well. And to the point I made earlier, and ties into Ty France. Righties this year, 452 slug, 342 WOBA, 1.5 home runs per 9, 42% fly ball rate, 32% hard hit rate. It's the righties that are giving Yariel Rodriguez all the issues so far.
Sure. Going on over to second base here. Again, a spot where we've spent a lot of time spending down. If you want to go Brandon Lau against Mitch Spence, though, you can at $4,900. Michael Massey at 42 against Cueto leading off, certainly in a strong position there as well. But value is where we've lived. Gavin Lux homered again the other day. Colt Keith's down here. Todney Edmonds down here. Edmundo Sosa has really good numbers against lefties. He's $3,200. And then Leo Jimenez is a guy that I think at $2,300, a lot of power. No Will Wagner. He's hitting 6th instead. That could be your punt play today.
Yeah, I really like Massey, 4,200 leading off. Has been really good. Cueto's really been bad against lefties. And obviously a lot of like run scoring potential for Massey too, if he doesn't just do it himself, because he does have power, 10 home runs in 66 games. But obviously Witt and Pasquantino hitting behind him have been RBI machines. So there's a lot of potential for Massey to really save floor tonight, $4,200. I do like Horwitz a little bit, 39. I do like Labor leading off. You said Gavin Lux homered the other day. Homers every day. Three of his last 5, 4 in his last 10 games overall. He has been incredible. I do like Colt Keith for tournaments a little bit. And yeah, I like your Leo Jimenez shout. You can play in multi-position eligibility there. Only other name I'd throw out, and this is where the Braves are, I guess. But if you're looking for a cheap stack or a cheap piece of the Braves stack, we talked about Ramon Laureano hitting second yesterday.
Yeah.
He is not, because Whit Merrifield is hitting second for the Braves today. He is $3,300, former Philadelphia Philly. He is in Jersey on his picture with the Phillies, so don't get that confused. He plays for the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like as an alt stack, because again, I think Aaron Nola has looked really, really, really shaky this past handful of starts. I mean, I'm a little bit interested in Merrifield, but that is contingent on playing a Brave stack. Like, I'm not just playing a one-off Merrifield. I'm playing like Harris, Merrifield, Ozuna, whatever,
right.
like whatever kind of stack you're playing with the Braves. Olsen 4, like just playing their top 4.
Sure, I agree. That's fine by me. Third base position, Ramirez up at the top. We not to ignore, obviously, his matchup against a lefty in Cortez at $6,300. Alec Boehm hitting cleanup against Max Fried at $4,900. Got Max Muncy with his home run upside at $4,700. Your top 3 price guys. You obviously express sort of your interest there in the Atlanta side of that matchup. Thoughts here on Ramirez, Boehm, and Muncy?
Yeah, I mean, he could play any of them. I think Jose Ramirez is an absolute dog in this spot. He has, for an elite player, you don't often see like this significant of splits. Like, usually you just see like players be elite. He is really, really elite against left-handed pitching. well over 1,000 OPS, well over a 330 average, all the power, he's just that good against lefties. And now you get a struggling Nestor. I'm good with Merrifield. I guess at 3,300, you don't need like the ceiling. I just think he fits perfectly in a Brave stack, hitting second there. Ramirez is my top spend if I'm spending up, but obviously Bohm has been great against lefties his entire career. This year, not excluded from that. He's been better lately. And then Max Muncy's like, yeah, I've been out for a while, but let me just homer every day. So another guy who's hit 2 home runs in each of the first 2 games. Now, like, Max Muncy is a very volatile baseball player. He has a really, really high ceiling and a 0 floor. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. So I'm good with all 3 of them. I think Ramirez for me is on tonight specifically, is on like the Judge Witt tier.
Yeah.
For me, but I'm good with any of the top 3 at third.
Sure, agreed. Going down into the mid and value tiers, our guy Ernie Clement is hitting 5th here tonight. You got that going for you. Caballero, if you want some speed, at 38. Caminero's 31. Oswaldo Peraza, someone you called out, 3K in the value tier.
Yeah, I don't love this position overall. Like after the top guys, Clement's fine at 35. Rendon to a lesser extent. I saw the Angels were the winning stack in most of the Tuesday GPPs.
Mm-hmm.
And like Rendon is what he is at this point, but Michael Lorenzen has obviously there has been a blatant, and he's been bad against both splits, but he has been specifically horrible against right-handed bats. So I do think Rendon is fine at 33. Oswaldo Peraza, I mean, he homered in his debut. There is obviously a chance that he was pinch hit for late in that game in favor of Oswaldo Cabrera. And I think that's potential if we do see a righty come in, or when we see a righty come in for the Guardians. But while, I mean, he does have a ceiling. He was hitting really well. This is a former top prospect of the Yankees, was hitting really well at AAA, got the call up, homered in his first game, hits in first 2 of 3. So I do think Oswaldo Cabrera is a little bit interesting for sure.
Agreed. Shortstop. Bobby Witt's cover of the playbook today. You mentioned already looking to hit 400 at home, $6,600. But we've talked plenty of value on this slate, so it won't be difficult to get him in your lineup. Assuming he's your top guy, who's your number 2?
Like on the slate or shortstops?
Shortstop.
Probably Trey Turner. And, you know, I don't have a problem getting to Mookie, obviously. I don't have a problem getting to Ellie. But we've talked about Trey Turner is like one of those dudes that when he is flowing, like he is an upper tier player. Like that he's in the room with all the other elite players in baseball, and he hits lefties well. We've talked about Max Fried. I mean, these last 2 months for Max Fried have been pretty bad. He's doubled his ERA from July. That was 4.45. It's like 8 in August. So I do like Trey Turner quite a bit here, 58. If I'm not paying up for Bobby Witt. You know, it's a fine position overall. I think that there's like okay plays underneath, but those 2 are like up 1 and 2 for
sure. I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, we talked the runs that this man has gone on. You know, he came back from the IL and had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 homers in 7 games, right? So like just absurd upside for Trey Turner there. Mid-tier options for us?
I mean, if you're playing Yankees, you have to at least consider the Volpe play. He was really good yesterday after he was a hot topic in Yankees verse with Aaron Boone getting mad at John Boy about the question that he was asked about Volpe. But he's hitting 6. That's a big move up in the lineup. $4,100, gets a lefty, he was really good at last year, has not been good against lefties this year. I do think Volpe 41. The Angels are going to be low owned again, and Zach Nato probably is a closer to 5K player than he is a 4K player at this point.
I would agree.
And we've now gotten homers in back-to-back games. And like, there is clearly a discrepancy. He is very, very good against lefties and he's fine against righties.
Yeah.
But like, what wins out here? Is it Lorenzen being awful against right-handed pitching in a really good environment for like Zach Nato, if he doesn't homer, to like triple or have multiple extra base hits with how big their outfield is? So I think the Angels are super contrarian, low owned.
Yeah, it was such a weird start for Cole Reagan. So obviously he got shelled, but he also hit the over on his strikeouts. He had like 8 or 9.
He had 8 of them in 5 innings, and then the
so
sixth inning, everything fell apart.
Yeah, kind of wild the way that all occurred there. Again, I talked to Mendo Sosa already. I don't mind punting him at shortstop here at $3,200. Obviously, you also have Jimenez, who we talked about at 23. You can play them at shortstop. Oswaldo also there at 3K. You can run him out there as some value at the shortstop position.
Yeah, I'd probably throw like Orlando Arcia in there just because he's a righty. But also just to fit, that just fits my Brave scenario.
Yeah, that's fine. Outfield, kind of pick your top guy and move with the stack here. Not afraid of the lefty with Schwarber against Fried. I'm fine rocking that. Obviously, Judge and Soto, Ohtani, Betts, kind of pick your spot and build around, as we've talked extensively about. Who's your number one outfielder today?
Aaron Judge.
Okay.
I think like it's close between him and Soto. I think I've mentioned it. I mean, Cantillo has really actually struggled with lefties via minors and major leagues. That's, I mean, a lot of home runs against them, a lot of power, over 900 OPS. So I'd have no problem if someone was like, nah, I prefer Soto, because he also hits lefties. He has over 1,000 OPS this year against lefties. But I mean, I'm also not, it's hard to not want to choose the guy with 45 home runs, 114 RBIs, and 124 games when you factor in that 1 month of the year, he didn't do anything. I mean, the first month of the year, he was dreadful. And this is all since then. So Judge is number one for me. I'd have no problem with Soto too. I have no problem with the Dodgers. Obviously, no problem with Schwarber. You mentioned lefty. That's not an issue. I think Ozuna's contrarian. He's been pretty awesome. Not the person, but the baseball player. He's been pretty awesome.
Yeah, on the field.
On the field, he has been great. So yeah, no wrong answer, but I think Judge is for me with a bullet number.
Sure. Mid-tier options. We got a lot of guys sitting at the top of the lineup over here. Quan, Springer, Thomas, Burleson, Friedel in the mid hitting cleanup today. Harrison leading off, as you called out the other day. Castellanos hitting fifth. Pretty strong group in this mid-range.
Yeah, I mean, I like Stanton hitting fourth. Sure. We talked about it all the time. Like, there's just something to be said about the guy with power, like a guy with power, right? He's going to be overlooked, but he's hitting fourth. That's your protection. Like, he is more likely. I mean, this isn't Grady Sizemore managing. Like, Aaron Judge is not, or Soto is not going to get intentionally walk to pitch to Judge. Like, it's going to be like Judge intentionally walk to get to Stanton, right? Like, Stanton's going to be the one getting pitches to hit. And he has hit lefties historically well, does have 20 home runs and not a lot of games this year. So Stanton will be the overlooked Yankee outfielder. I like that in tournaments quite a bit. I'd be okay getting to like Quan. Lane Thomas hitting second, I think, is really interesting. I know he has been
very bad,
pretty dreadful since going to Cleveland. But the one thing we've known about Lane Thomas for multiple years is that he hits lefties extremely well. There is something also to be said that they moved him into the 2-hole with a lefty on the mound. Like they have moved him down. They had moved him down the order, get away from the top of this order. But signs of life from Lane Thomas, 4,400 against Nestor. I like Michael Harris leading off. I like Castellanos. I don't know if there's been any world events that have happened today. That
I don't think so, but you never know. Plenty of time.
If there has been or will, prior to lock, make sure Castellanos is plugged into your lineups. If not, still a good play regardless. You talked Carpenter and Meadows. Meadows is very cheap, but Carpenter 4,200 is really solid. And I saw Weston Wilson is in your playbook.
Yes.
Hitting 7.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, guy's been red hot. Why not at 41? give him a shout. Josh Lowe there, $3,900. Working your way down a little bit here. You actually have Kelnick hitting 6 tonight. Could look at that as well. Talked Tommy Edman already. Anybody? Melendez at 34.
Yeah, that's a good play because Cueto's been bad against lefties. You know who's going to hit a 700-foot home run at Yankee Stadium tonight?
Johnsky Noel.
John Kenzie Noel is going to hit a 700-foot home run tonight. And there's nothing Nestor Cortez can do about it. There's not going to be anything Nestor Cortez can do about it. Unfortunately for him.
I listen. He has good home splits, but that's but all it is there. So, anything other for value? Parker Meadows 32. We talked Ramon Laureano and his hot streak here now. Rojas hits lefty. Yeah. Rojas hits lefties relatively well. Is 3K. That's probably it.
Yeah, there's no punts unless lineups that haven't come out yet have something that we're not expecting.
Sure. All right. Flaherty and Pepio?
Yeah.
Let's go value. What did you like at second here for value? You were in on somebody here, weren't you?
With Merrifield? Massey, yeah. I mean, I like. Second base is a really quality value.
I guess if we were going with though, we probably need like Jimenez here, right?
Probably.
If we're gonna do the Witt Judge combo, actually can't be done.
Yeah, and Tice isn't even catching tonight, so I don't really know what the I don't
do Fry in the well. Maybe do a little 2-man like
6 stack.
Yeah, 4-6. Third base. I get another value. Did you do Peraza?
It's fine. He's fine.
He's fine. First base at 4K. Let's see.
Or just finish outfield. Like if you playing Witt, you're going to play MJ at 30.
Yeah, Melendez. Yeah, 35. 34. 4,300 first base outfield. Get Wilson in there, 41. 4,500 first baseman. It's not really much there. If we pass Cantino maybe instead. And that gives us 38 in the outfield. 38 in the outfield. Could like one off Edman.
If you want to just play more Kansas City, Renfroe had a couple hits yesterday.
Sure. Where is he?
30, or you play Meadows as a one-off.
I do like Meadows. Let's see. What does that give us? $600? Do we have anything of it? Like the 4K catcher range here? Real Muto against Fried?
Yeah, we're all over the place with this line, other than our Kansas City.
Well, we're committing to Kansas City. We're just trying to figure out how to get Witt in the lineup while paying up for Flaherty, right? Like that's the. Yeah. Would you drop down to like Nola from Flaherty?
No, I no.
You like Atlanta, obviously, right? So like they're.
Yeah, So I am. That is not personally something I would
do. Okay. All right. Well, then we'll stick with this. We'll do the 3-man Kansas City stack. We're kind of playing around to make it fit otherwise here. Flaherty, Pepio, Real Muto, Pasquantino, Jimenez, Peraza, Witt, Noel, Melendez, and Meadows as an example lineup. I'll have the player profile, the player grid out momentarily, so be on the lookout for that. Get us into Discord if you have any questions. Find us over on the X Machine. We'll be back tomorrow, everybody.